and be so locked in and closed off within day one. And to me, it's bullshit.
Charlie.
Karma is consequences for your actions, because at the end of the day, she was behaving the way she was behaving, knowing for a fact that other islanders are watching and knowing for a fact that there's a recoupling coming up. So I don't get how she's wailing like someone is attacking her when she put herself in this position whereby she made her partner vulnerable and was, as a result, put him at risk of being sent home. I don't get it. And I feel sorry for Charlie, really, because he was betrayed by the people he called the closest to him. He's very close friends with Sierra. They came in together. He was close with Shirley because she was his confidant. And also for Amaya, I don't get, because Amaya is supposed to be close friends with Hannah. So I don't get how she would send the person that is coupled up with Hannah unless Hannah gave her the green light for her to do so. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island USA, Season 7, Episode 10. I really feel bad for Nick because in the last episode, he was busy moaning about the fact that he suspected that Hannah might go and kiss Pepe. So for them to come from Speakeasy and Nick sort of tease Pepe and say, you know, you've got lipstick, blah, 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 and he starts smiling with the smirk and sort of wiping his face down, doesn't make sense. Everybody at that table knew already what had happened because of the reaction. And it's like, something is not right. If you are settled in your couple and then suddenly all it takes is for a bombshell to come in and 2 minutes later you're eating their face off, that means that you didn't have any feelings for your partner. You were just playing it safe until somebody else came in. I didn't like that. So Austin was upset by that. So he walked off and he went to where Charlie was sitting with Shirley and sort of told him that this is what is happening. I think they've shared a case, because he was sort of wiping his face and she was smirking. Which is really bad though. I don't know why she didn't just come and draw a beeline straight for Charlie, tell Charlie what happened and then take it from there. So you have Charlie pull Hannah for a chat. They have a conversation and she eventually says to him, I'm trying to tell you something, but I can't. And he said, be open, tell me everything. And so for her to reveal that, you know, they shared a kiss, you could tell he was devastated. He was devastated because I think he was developing feelings for someone who wasn't feeling him the same way. And sadly, I don't know whether Pepe is feeling her that way or whether he's just doing it because he wants to be safe and stay in the villa. You have Shirley sit down for a conversation with Austin. Austin is overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed. He's in a couple with Shirley, but also you have Ace applying a lot of pressure on Shirley. And so he doesn't know whether he meets what her needs or maybe it's time for him to call it quits and keep it stepping. And so for Shirley to say, you know, oh, I can't continue to reassure him, it's exhausting. Maybe you need to leave someone who's playing with you and focus on the person that you have at the moment. If you don't like Austin, then maybe pay attention to Charlie and stop wasting your time with Ace, because Ace is not feeling you that way as much as he tells you that his words and his actions are not matching. You have Huda and Jeremiah go for a conversation. They are a toxic mess. They are the toxic couple of the season. Every season you have one. Because I don't understand why there's still all this theatrics about the fact that she wanted pancakes, he made pancakes, they were raw, blah, blah, blah. If you don't like them, go to the kitchen and make yourself some pancakes. You've got 2 hands, 2 eyes, 2 feet. Keep it stepping. There's no need for us to make such a big deal about it. And he is right to say that Huda is testing him. I get that impression that she's testing him and she's checking things off her checklist of what she wants in a partner. So every time he meets it, she checks it. If he doesn't, then she throws a fit until he meets that whatever she wants. And then they keep it stepping from there. That's the impression that I get. You then have Ace go for a conversation with Shirley. Shirley needs to understand this little boy. She needs to understand, at 27, she needs to understand this little boy. Because he tells her that, you know, he had a great conversation with Iris, so he wants Shirley to know, and he's going to try and continue with that chat whilst also exploring, you know, Shirley. That should be enough reason for her to understand that this man doesn't like you. He only wants you because you are his ticket to staying in the villa, or you were an option. Whenever his type walks in, he turns his head and faces the options. And once the options don't pan out, then he'll come back to you. So I don't get why she keeps trying to pursue anything with that boy when she knows he's really not feeling her like that. You have a conversation between Shirley and Olandria, and Olandria sort of saying she's in this couple with Taylor, but she's also been exploring a connection with Jalen, and it feels Taylor's only applying pressure because of Jalen. Yes, 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 we can all attest to that. He said he didn't have the romantic spark, and suddenly he's got the romantic spark. He's putting in the effort. He's doing all these things, these acts of service, so that your head remains fixed while he is waiting for his type to walk in. And the moment they do, he's going to dump you. All the islanders go to bed, and it seems Charlie is struggling to sort of look at his partner. I would be struggling as well to look at someone I'm in a couple with, someone who I woke up in the morning very happy with, and suddenly they are telling me that they have made out with somebody else. So I would feel the same way. All the islanders go to bed, and Jeremiah and Huda need to stop, or they need to give them the hideaway. The audacity to start playing with each other before the lights went out, and then as soon as the lights went out, they went to town. I'm surprised nobody called them out. So in the morning, the islanders wake up, the guys are getting breakfast, the girls are getting ready. And Huda, I don't know why she felt it was necessary to let the girls know that she and Jeremiah had sex. I would assume they've all heard her. And so she was excited about that. The girls just looked and were excited for her. But that couple is very toxic. I wish they had actually broken things off instead of proceeding to go down that route, because at the end of the day, they have a lot of problems that they haven't addressed. And so the idea that they're already moving on to sex doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, you have Charlie pull Iris for a chat. He's entitled to, because his partner is moving on with somebody else. So he might as well start cracking on with someone. He had a conversation on the terrace with Iris. They were just talking about, cartoons that they watched as kids. Hannah was in her feelings. Because she felt some type of way, because I don't understand why she'd feel any type of way. She took someone to the same place that she was taking Charlie to, and she made out with them in the same place. So the audacity to be upset doesn't make sense to me. It's the hypocrisy, because she did way worse than that. So she then goes to the dock with Taylor, and she's confiding in Taylor. She is seething. Hannah's seething. How dare he take her there? At the end of the day, it seems like he's just trying to spite me. And it's like, if you hadn't kissed somebody else, there would be no need for him to spite you. You started it. He's about to end it, and you have to be okay with it, because you can't expect to kiss somebody and have him sit there and just wait for you to do whatever you want to do. You should have thought about it. Every action has consequences, so these are the consequences for your actions. So you need to keep it stepping. You have Taylor pull Olandria for a chat, and Olandria is sort of trying to explain how her connections are different. They are going to be different. One is giving her words of affirmation, one is giving her acts of service, or Taylor is trying to give her acts of service. She said, well, you wanted to get to know me as a person. This is why you didn't compliment. No, he didn't compliment you because he didn't find you romantically attractive. That's it. He's already said that to Ace. So the idea that you're trying to justify his actions doesn't make sense. If he is not giving you what you want, Olandria, you need to either keep it stepping or tell him what you want and see if he'll meet it. If he's not able to meet it, then it's time for you, baby girl, to sort of keep it stepping and move on and find your person that will give you everything you want. You then have Hannah and Taylor go to Soul Ties for a conversation, and Hannah is furious, and it's like, why are you furious? It's the audacity. Charlie comes across as a great guy. This is why I wanted him for Shirley, because he sounds like he's very caring and very patient and very sort of trustworthy. So they had this back and forth about, why are you taking her to have a conversation on the terrace when, are you doing it to spite me? And he had to say to her, no. You started chatting with her while we're in bed. And it's like, madam, why are you upset? Your guilt is what is nagging you. It's not what this man is doing. Your guilt is what is nagging you, and this is why we're here. And so you need to apologize to him. Let him know what you like and what you don't like, and keep it stepping. You have the boys playing table tennis. You have Austin with Nick and Pep playing table tennis. They're talking about the Olympics and wanting to go to the Olympics. And then you have Nick receive a message that says, Islanders, it's time to show who's a cut above the rest in today's challenge. Got wood. And so everyone is excited because they don't know what it means. So this challenge I really liked. I enjoyed it because it wasn't as dirty as some of the challenges that we've seen on Love Island. Anyway, so what would happen is one of the guys would go and chop off brunch or read what's on the brunch, and then they would go onto the station where it was just, well, they would get to pick a guy according to the question, blast them with some powder, and then go onto a log, onto the station where they were chopping a log, with a girl sort of cowgirling herself on there. And then from there, they would go onto the log roll. And from the log roll, they would then pick up another name from a basket, one of the beavers, and they would take them to the shed and do whatever they wanted to do in the shed. So first up was Austin. His question was, which boy needs to be axed from the villa? He chose Jeremiah. Is anyone surprised? No. Jeremiah and Huda have done everything that needs to be done in the villa. They've explored connections. They found their person. They've made out. They've agreed that they're going to co-parent. It's time for them to go home. On the chopping wood thingy, the guys gave him Amaya, so he went with Amaya. He seemed to enjoy himself, and then he went on the log roll with Shirley and picked Olandria to go into the shed with. They made out. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I didn't think they were going to make out. Olandria was a very popular pick for most of the guys. Next up was Taylor. His question was, which boy seems bored in his couple? He chose Ace. If anyone wants to say they're surprised, then they're lying. Huda was chopping the wood with him. Sierra was on the log roll. Sierra was in the cabin with him, but they didn't share a kiss. Nick was next. Which boy is actually pining for someone else? He chose Ace. That made sense. He chose Iris for the log roll, and then he went in the shed with Olandria and kissed her down and said she's very pretty, so he's always wanted to kiss her. Next up was Jeremiah. Which boy has no splinter of hope in his couple? They chose Ace. Well, he chose Ace. And then Ace chose Sierra for him. And then he had Olandria in the shed. And Olandria was actually surprised with the way he kissed her down. And Hannah was picking. And it's like, why is she picking? I think she assumed that since Olandria is her friend, he wasn't going to do anything. And Jeremiah said he's decided to kiss her because, he doesn't want to be boring. Next up was Ace. Which boy needs to be cut down to size? He chose Jalen. I think he chose Jalen because of the fact that Jalen is trying to go after Olandria. He chose Iris and he kissed Iris for the log roll. And then he went into the shed with Olandria, who he kissed. At this point, her lips were tired, I assume. Next up was Jalen. Which boy needs to branch out from his couple? He chose Jeremiah, and Jeremiah chose Huda for him. And Huda said she was going to give him something he would never get. And then he got Amaya in the shed and they made out. Amaya was excited. You could tell that Olandria wasn't happy. I think she expected to go in the shed. So when she didn't get to go to the shed, you could see from the look on her face that she wasn't very happy. Pepe was, which boy has no chemistry with his partner? He chose Austin. This didn't sit well with Austin and with Shirley. Hannah, who he kissed on the log roll, and then Iris, who he kissed as well. Charlie's was, which boy is your stiffest competition? He went for Pepe. Anyone surprised? We would be lying if we said yes. And then he kissed Hannah on the log roll, and then Sierra and him went into the shed. And because he and Sierra came in together, he said, she's my sister, but he went to town, or they both went to town and seemed to really enjoy themselves. So the Islanders come back from Gotwood, and there's conversations about what took place. The girls are talking about the fact that Olandria was very popular. She kissed 4 guys, and Huda says that she didn't expect Olandria and Jeremiah to kiss, but even though they kissed, she didn't mind because obviously they're close friends. I think and she doesn't want the beef. I think had he kissed somebody like Iris, then she would have kicked off. Meanwhile, the boys are talking to Jeremiah to say, how do you feel about the way Huda reacts or behaves, especially how she spazzes out every time you are in a challenge with another girl? And he says, well, we'll see what happens, blah, blah. Jeremiah is trying to say the best things. He's sort of caught between a rock and a hard place. I think he knows that people can see the cracks in his connection and is worried that if he agrees with them, then his connection is going to be completely gone. And sadly for him, he hasn't explored any other girls outside of Huda. So he's stuck in this sort of hamster wheel where he has to put up with Huda and whatever she's going to dish out to him. You have Jalen take Olandria to the terrace. Well, they have a conversation because he said, he didn't pick her because everybody else had kissed her, but he was hoping for a kiss. She gave him a peck. I don't know why she's keeping this man at arm's length, because this man actually seems to like her more than the person she's in a couple with. So the idea that she would want to continue to sort of stay away from that because she feels like she's got a connection with somebody else doesn't make sense. This man has already said he doesn't have any romantic feelings for her, so I don't get where she's coming from. You have Hannah. To say I'm disappointed is an understatement. She goes again to soul ties with this man. I don't get why she keeps going to these secluded places when she knows that he's a temptation. Every time she goes somewhere with him, she ends up kissing him. So the idea that she kissed him again doesn't make sense, especially given the fact that Charlie is feeling guilty and you have Amaya crying, because they could have explored something, but they were trying to sort of give way to her, because Charlie, while she's in soul tie, Charlie approaches Amaya for a conversation and he asks her if she's open to exploring a connection. And you have Amaya pledging this, allegiance to this girl who's busy being face sucked or having a face sucked off. And it doesn't make sense to me. I understand being loyal to your friends, but at the same time, it's not a good look when someone is crying and they're really fighting for you while you are in soul ties, making out with somebody else. I didn't like that. Even once Charlie realized that, he apologized profusely because Charlie's feeling insecure. He's in a couple with someone who he thought things were going great, and then it's taken is for one person to walk in and suddenly she's forgotten about him. And I think this is why he's decided to explore things with somebody else. You have the girls sort of getting ready for the night, and while they're getting ready, Amaya tells, Hannah what happened. And I don't get why Hannah didn't own up and say exactly what happened while they were in soul ties. That I still am puzzled by. The islanders get ready, they pick up their drinks, they go downstairs, and Taylor and Olandria go for a chat, and she's sort of confiding that yes, she gave a pack to Jalen. She wants someone who gets to know her first before they explore a romantic connection. And it's like, girl, this man doesn't want to get to know you. He's just humoring you because he has no other connection. He's already said he doesn't have a romantic spark with you. I wish Taylor would be honest and tell this girl the truth, but Taylor's going to keep her going just because he wants to be safe and stay in the villa. Amaya and Hannah go upstairs for a chat, and they sort of have this back and forth. I love that Amaya was fighting, Charlie's situation, sort of explaining that he's spazzing out because he doesn't know what to do. He is in the situation whereby he really likes you, but he doesn't know whether you like him or you don't. And because he's not sure, this is why he's panicking and is going to the extent of trying to explore connections with other people. And personally, I think it's a bit hypocritical for her to say she kicked off when he went for a conversation with one of the girls earlier, and then suddenly she is back in soul ties and kissing this man a second time, and it's like, make it make sense. And I thought she would have confided in Amaya that, when I went to soul ties, this is what happened. She didn't say anything. She just said, the problem is Pepe is the sort of guy that I've always dated, and so it's very superficial. If it's superficial and you know that it's just about knocking boots, why are you wasting time when you've got a friendship and a romantic connection in one person? Make that make sense? Ace has a conversation with Iris and he's happy in that couple. This is what I think. Ace wants everybody else bar Shirley. He wants Shirley as a backup, but he wants everybody else bar Shirley. They seemed to really get along with Iris. They seem to enjoy each other's company. So I don't get why, if things don't work out with Iris, I have a feeling he's going to go back to Shirley. And I hope Shirley slams the door shut in his face, because enough is enough. We can't continue to do that. You have Hannah and Charlie finally go for their chat. And so Charlie reveals what happened. Well, Hannah is the first one to reveal that she spoke to Amaya, and Amaya told her that, Charlie was trying to explore a romantic connection and this is how she felt. And Charlie said, I was passing out because I thought I was missing something with our connection. I couldn't understand how we went from being very happy-go-lucky to suddenly you are sucking somebody else's face off. I don't get it. And so for Hannah to sort of, she didn't really apologize, but for her to say, I've made up my mind and this is what I want, I don't get it, especially given the fact that she didn't own up and sort of admit that she had kissed this man a second time. I would have loved for her to own up and tell him that she's kissed him a second time. You have Huda and Jeremiah having a conversation. Huda is trying to downplay it, in my opinion. She really is trying to downplay it, that she was offended by the fact that he kissed Olandria, because she asks him, you were not supposed to kiss him. Sierra didn't kiss whoever she went in with. They were just banging on the doors. You could have done the same. And he said, well, I decided this is what I wanted to do. I feel like this man wants to explore connections. And because he's already had SCX and he's seen red flags and he's been told that she's a single mom, he doesn't know how to untangle himself because he got himself so tangled up. He doesn't know how to escape without getting the bad edit. Anyway, while they're having a conversation, Ariana Maddox arrives. Everyone is excited to see her. She looked amazing. Ace is always ecstatic to see Ariana. I think he's got a crush on her. Anyway, she tells the islanders to gather around the fire pit. Once they're at the fire pit, she reveals that the viewers have been voting and they have decided who should couple up with the bombshells, because there's 3 bombshells, Jalen, Pepe, and Iris. So the 3 of them, I think, already knew who they were going to recouple with, but didn't expect the viewers to do that for them. So they all gather around the fire pit. They're sitting there waiting. And then Ariana asks the bombshells to stand up. So they stand up at the fire pit and wait for the decision. First up revealed is Jalen. Jalen, he's been coupled up with Olandria. Is anyone surprised? No. I think he makes a better match for her than the current match. I don't think Taylor's it. I think Taylor's just using her to stay in the villa until his person comes in. And I wouldn't be surprised if he moved as mad as Hannah once his person arrives in there. So I hope she really gives it a go and gives it an opportunity. Taylor on his part is surprised. He is surprised and is upset. But then what do? You can't tell people to not vote. Next up, we have Pepe. Pepe is recoupled with Hannah. Is anyone surprised? No. Because Hannah was busy eating this man's face off. So the idea that she would expect anything different doesn't make sense. You have Charlie. Charlie is just shocked because he thought they were in a good space. I don't know what he was expecting, whether he was expecting Hannah to go back and tell this man that there's nothing there. She wants to stay in a couple. I don't know. So once their partner has been swapped in, they were being asked to stand at the fire pit. So you now had Taylor and Jalen standing up, which now left Iris. So I assumed Iris was going to be coupled up with Ace, and I was pleasantly surprised when she was coupled up with Jeremiah. Not really surprised because of how crazy that and toxic that couple has become. I think this is Jeremiah's opportunity to sort of decide what to do next, whether he needs to keep it stepping. I have a feeling he's going to be forced to go and sleep in soul ties because he's going to be told Ace didn't want to be in a couple with his partner and he slept in soul ties, so you need to do the same. I don't know how long they can last as a couple. Anyway, it's then revealed that the 3 islanders that are single are now vulnerable. And so all the islanders that are still in their couples before recoupling now get the chance to decide who to dump and who to keep. And then you have Charlie sort of trying to plead his case to say, oh, Hannah and I have just made up. Whatever issues we were having, we've sort of overcome those. So we are in this happy space and we're ready to move on. And it was really sad because it was last minute and it seemed really desperate, and I don't know. Anyway, you have the islanders be asked to stand up one at a time, give a reason, and sort of mention who they've decided to sort of choose to be dumped. Charlie sadly didn't stand a chance. He didn't stand a chance because at the end of the day, he is the foreign person because he's not from the USA. And sadly, unless production have said he needs to stay, there was no chance he was going to stay. I am side-eyeing production because of the people that voted for him. They are people that would have thought would have had his back. So the idea that they are the ones that voted him out, I am not buying it. First up, you had Sierra. Sierra came in with Charlie. So the idea that she voted for Charlie doesn't make sense because that's her day one. That's her person that brought her in, that she came in with. You'd think she had more allegiance to him than anybody else. Well, her reason for voting for him was because in the last few days, things haven't been moving smoothly in her couple. I think she did that because she's very close with Huda, and also because she didn't want to have any problems with Olandria and company. So she decided to go for someone she knew was least likely to be offended. Nick voted for Huda. He said, she's using Jeremiah as a security blanket. Everyone can see that. And so I know there's going to be difficult conversations to be had once this is all finished, because I don't think Jeremiah will be happy that his best friends in the villa voted for his girl, even though they knew, she's a single mom, blah, 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 blah. Austin voted for Taylor, and I think it's for no other reason than he is best friends with Charlie, and also Taylor has been encouraging Ace to sort of go after Shirley. So I think he decided, if I can't go after Ace, then I'm going after Ace's number 2. Shirley, I was surprised because she was close friends with Charlie. She's the one he confided in. She's the one who was consoling him when he was very distraught about his partner. So the idea that she voted for him doesn't make sense. She said, there's been obstacles and, they've struggled. Yes, they've struggled, but that's not good enough reason for you to vote for him. Next up was Ace. Ace voted for Huda. Anyone surprised? No. He said because she hasn't explored with anyone from day one. She came in, she went tunnel vision, and he thinks it's more gameplay than anything else, and he doesn't think it's a genuine connection. Huda wasn't happy. He wasn't happy. And Ace spoke about the fact that someone is already locked off and they won't explore with anyone else. I don't know whether it's because he wanted to explore with her or what exactly that meant. And then you had Amaya. Amaya was also best friends with Hannah. She knows Hannah really likes, Charlie. So it doesn't make sense that she would vote for him to go home unless Hannah told her that send Charlie home so that I have an opportunity to sort of explore with Jalen. The only problem is with Jalen, when his person comes in, he is going to leave her, whereas she had a sure thing with Charlie. And for her to burst into tears and start crying her eyes out and stuff, it doesn't make sense because she chose this. She brought this on. If she had stayed loyal to her partner, if she hadn't explored connections with this man, then her partner would have been safe. So I can't wait to see the fallout. Everyone was crying. Everyone was distraught. It was really sad. Even Ariana was sad. You could see the way Hannah was wailing. It was really sad. It was really sad. But she put them in this position. Had she stayed in a strong couple, had she not explored connections, or had she explored without going to make out with that man, then they would have been fine. When he tried with Sierra, Sierra shut him down and stayed with her guy. She should have done the same. Now he is going home. With the way she was wailing, I expected her to go home. I'm pleasantly surprised that she was wailing. I don't know. Maybe she will go home. You could see that Pepe was dumbfounded. He didn't know what to do because of the fact that she was wailing like someone was actually physically assaulting her. So I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 9. Bye guys.